Hello, my dear children, and welcome back. I know, exams are just around the corner and things can get a little tense. But please don't you worry one bit. We are in this together and we are going to absolutely master this chapter on social change and social order. You're going to be so prepared. Just think about this for a second. I'm sure you used to ask your parents for a crisp 10 rupee note for pocket money, right? But now, you probably just say, Mummy, please GPay the canteen wala? It's crazy how fast things change. Or think about your grandparents. They probably saw movies only in a theater. Your parents got TV, and you watch whatever you want whenever you want, right on your phone. Our world is spinning and changing all the time. And that, my dears, is exactly what this chapter is all about.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. It's super simple. First, we'll figure out what social change actually is. Then we're going to look at what causes it, what's pushing the buttons. After that, we'll look at its opposite force, which is social order. And finally, we'll bring it all home and see how this works in villages and cities in India. I promise, by the end of this, you'll have this chapter in your pocket.
Right, then, first things first. What is this social change we keep hearing about? Well, it's not about small things like changing your profile picture or deciding you suddenly like a new flavor of ice cream. No. We're talking about something way, way bigger. So, for your exam, here's the definition you need to remember. Social change means significant changes that alter the basic structure of society. Now, that word significant is the magic word here. It's got to be a huge, fundamental shift that affects tons and tons of people. Like, think about the move from writing letters to using WhatsApp. That didn't just change how a few friends chat. It completely changed how all of us work, stay in touch with family, everything. That is social change. Now, this is something that might just blow your mind. If you imagine all of human history fits into one 24-hour day, guess when agriculture started? At 4 minutes to midnight, 11:56 p.m. And what about modern life with our internet and fast cars? That all kicked off in the last 30 seconds. It just shows you how unbelievably fast everything has changed in just a blink of an eye, historically speaking. Now, this change can happen at two different speeds. Think of it this way. There's evolution, which is slow and gradual, kind of like how you've grown up bit by bit over the years. And then there's revolution, which is bam, quick, sudden, and it changes everything at once, like the Industrial Revolution did. Easy to remember, right? Slow and steady, or fast and furious. So, the big question is, what's causing all this change? What are the engines that are pushing our society forward? Let's take a look at the main drivers. So there are 4 main engines we need to know for our exams. First is the environment. Second is technology and the economy. They kind of go together. Third is politics. And fourth is culture, which is all about what we believe and how we live. Let's quickly look at each one. First up, the environment. Nature is incredibly powerful. A big disaster like a flood or an earthquake can totally change a place. But nature can also bring good change. Just think about it. When oil was discovered in the Middle East, those desert societies went from being pretty simple to some of the richest in the whole world. That's the power of the environment. Okay, next up, technology. Oh, this one is a biggie, especially for your generation. Things like the steam engine literally changed the world. And when the British brought railways to India way back in 1853, it wasn't just about faster travel. It completely changed our economy. And today, well, the internet. It has totally changed our lives in ways our grandparents couldn't even have dreamed of. Now, let's talk about politics. What do you think this big number 1 stands for? Well, it stands for one of the most powerful ideas ever. One person, one vote. We call it universal adult franchise. It's the simple idea that every single adult gets a say. Before this, only the rich or powerful could make decisions. This one idea flipped everything upside down and put the power in the hands of the common person. That's a massive, revolutionary change. And finally, we have culture. Our ideas, our beliefs, our passions, they can cause huge change. And what's a better example than cricket? I mean, come on. It started as a game for the English, right? But we took it, we made it our own, and now the whole world's cricket economy runs on the passion of Indian fans. It shows how a change in culture can have massive social and economic impact.
Okay, wait a minute. This brings up a really good question. If everything is changing so fast, technology, politics, everything, why don't things just fall apart? Why isn't everything just complete chaos all the time? What is it that holds society together? Well, the answer to that question is something called social order. Think of it as the force that pushes back against change. It's the glue that keeps things stable and predictable for all of us. So, a great way to picture this is like a giant tug-of-war. On one side of the rope, you have social change, always pulling towards new things, new ideas. And on the other side, you have social order, pulling back, trying to keep things stable and familiar. A healthy society needs both. So, how does this social order work? Well, mostly it's through something called spontaneous consent. It just means we follow the rules because we've been taught that's the right thing to do. You stop at a red light, even when there's no policeman around. But sometimes order is also kept through power, where people are kind of forced to follow the rules set by more powerful groups.
All right, let's make this all super real now. Let's apply these ideas of change and order to two places we all know very well, the Indian village and the Indian city.
So just imagine a village. It's calm, it's traditional, life moves at a slower pace, right? And then you have the city, full of construction, traffic, noise, always buzzing with activity. As you can guess, change and order work very, very differently in these two places. Now, in a village, change is usually much slower. And why is that? It's because social order is super strong. Everybody knows everybody else's business. There's very little anonymity. So traditional things like caste and religion have a very strong influence. This can make it really tough for weaker groups to speak up or challenge the people in power. But the city is a whole different ballgame. Change is much faster. You're anonymous, so you have more freedom to be who you want to be. But this comes with its own set of problems, and they are usually all about space. Not enough houses, which leads to slums and terrible traffic jams. And here's an interesting thing. Even with all that freedom, sometimes group identities like caste or religion can become even stronger because people look for a community to belong to in the big city.
And just like that, we're done with the chapter. See, I told you it would be a breeze. Now, for the most important part, let's do a super quick revision so you can go in there and get full marks.
Okay, pop quiz. This is a very, very common one-mark question. I want you to think for a second. What is the definition of authority? What is it?
Here is the perfect answer. You have to write that authority is legitimate power. The word legitimate is key. It means it's the kind of power that people agree is fair and just. For example, a teacher has authority in the classroom because we all accept their role. That's it. If you write that, you're getting full marks. Bosh, so simple.
And before we go, I want to leave you with a little something to think about. We talked about the steam engine and the internet. What do you think will be the huge social change that defines your generation? Is it going to be AI? Is it going to be climate change? Something else we haven't even thought of? The world that you are all going to build is just starting. And with that, my dears, you are all set. Study well. I know you will do brilliantly. All the very best.